chat. That's close. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I just kind of want to chat today, chill out, hang out with you guys, talk one of my favorite games of all time, put the factions on a tier list. Because I'm sad. Today fucking sucks. I want to make today better and be productive with my day, instead of being sad and fucking mopey around my house. And I'd rather be productive and talk about it than sit around and do nothing. So yeah, why are we doing 40k factions? Because fuck you. I want to. It's my life. It's my power. I can do what I want when I want. In fact, see, I am down here now. I'm down here now. So that way you get a better view of the lists above me. There's no League of Votann on here. There is no League of Votann here. Hi, Tonglix. You know what? Fuck it. We don't need a League of Votann. Fuck them. They mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. They showed up too recently. I don't have a good opinion on them. I've never even touched them. I have not felt the mighty caress of a League of Votann beard cross my lips. Plus they got a day one nerf because like they were just so fucking broken. Anyway. Let's start off with my most least liked faction. My most least liked faction. Custodies get enough. Custodies get enough. Now, a lot of people are probably just gonna go like, what? Why do the Emperor's bodyguards get an F? What are they doing that Marines aren't doing? Custodies are just heavier Marines. They're not interesting. They're not. They're boring. Every time I've seen them played, it's boring to me. All they want to do is just go in and smack shit. That's it. There is no variety with them whatsoever. Full might. Oh god, that is too bright. Hi, Shadow. But yeah, Custodies, F tier. They're boring as fuck. I do not like them. They have literally only one character. After that, the army's just boring. Alright, next up. Genestealer cults. They're trying to be a mix of Guard and Tyrannid, but have the infiltration style play style in the game. And you know what the problem is? That's it. That's all they want to do. Their units are too fragile most of the time. Their only good unit is the Aberrant unit, which is not tough enough to survive. Hi, Shadow. It's not tough enough to survive a good fisting from the Imperial Fists. They're just not a good faction. They're a fun faction. It's not a faction for me personally. By the way, I want to preface this. If you enjoy these armies, more power to you. This is my opinion. And you could call my opinion trash. You can diss me. You can attack me. Because what I'm going to put at S tier is going to piss a lot of you off. Probably, if you play Warhammer. Anyway, Jade Stealer cults just don't have it in them. Their whole gimmick is that they pop up on the board after you do, and like they just hide. Which, okay, but after they pop up, they're in fucking trouble because none of their units can take a hit. It's the equivalent of you trying to go BAM! And then I just pimp slap you. They're not a good army. They need a lot of work now to even like stand up. Next up. Oh boy. Ooh, you guys are gonna... Okay! Skitarii, Mechanicus. What I thought would be a very interesting machine-based army. They really fucking struggle. Their entire gimmick is that, like, oh, like, all of our stuff is machines, we can try and fix it, or, like, we, program in stuff throughout the game to make our units stronger or faster or better at the cost of doing something. Yeah, no, a lot of their abilities that try to pop off, a lot of it's counterproductive and counterintuitive to their playstyle. And that a lot of their abilities are really, really situational. That's not a good thing to have, in my opinion, for an army. That they just kind of meander along. I can think of like only 4 units that are worth it now in a Skitarii army. And I've lost to Skitarii plenty of times, by the way. That's why they're not E or F. But they're struggling so hard right now for me that it just sucks. And I love their aesthetic. I love how the Skitarii look. I love how the Mechanicus look. It's that steampunk mixed with tech horror that I really, really like. But their playstyle just brings it down for me a lot. They don't make good gun lines. They don't make good scouts. They're just kind of better shooting guard at the end of the day. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Grey Knights. You don't hate Valdor, do you? Constantine Valdor? He's kind of a dick. He's kind of a dick. Anyway, Grey Knights. I used to love Grey Knights. I used to love them. GW cannot make up their mind what they want them to do. Are they anti-psychers? Are they anti-demons? Make up your fucking mind. Now, a lot of people say, like, oh, demons and psychers go hand in hand. Not really anymore. Plus, like, how Grey Knights are written is that they can just do no wrong nowadays. And that drives me up the wall. Plus, a lot of you don't know this. In 5th edition, there was a little story. There was a little segment in there where Grey Knights had to kill Sisters of Battle and like bathe themselves in their blood to protect themselves from a Khorne blood wave. Make it make sense. Yeah, their playstyle right now is pretty much like what I complained about the Custodes. They're just better Marines, but like, what are they? What these guys just like have? All of them are psychics. Like all of them are psychers. You get magic. What are they? What are they after the magic? What are they supposed to do? They're a smaller Marine army, not as small as Custodes, but they were the Custodes for a while for me. Alright. Now we're getting to somewhere interesting. We're up in the seas now, bitches. Alright, first up, Tyranids. Bottom of the pack for C. Bottom of the pack for C. Why? Tyranids have an interesting playstyle. Big bugs, little bugs. Big bugs usually have auras around them that help the smaller bugs. But there are big bugs too that also need those buffs. Tyranids are a very synergetic army that you don't want them to be too far away from their bigger bugs. And I have seen plenty of different ways that Tyranids have been played. Tyranids are a vastly creative army with what you want them to do. Their flaws come down to just weak armor, and an annoying thing for me is the because I'm a Thousand Sun player. Their Shadow in the Warp is kind of annoying to me, but like, hey, do what you need to do. It would have like a unique thing going on for you. After that, the problem just comes down to there are two kinds of there's two kinds of Tyranids. There's the Tyranids that constantly get their ass kicked, and then there's the Tyranids that just don't want to fucking die. How do Plague Marines play in your experience? So, actually, I was actually going to just get into that, because after Tyranids, next up was the Death Guard. So, for the longest time, there was no Death Guard army. There was the flavor of the Death Guard, and Plague Marines. Basically, if you wanted to play a Death Guard army, you just take an entire army of Plague Marines with Typhus. Now, Death Guard have their own army, and they have the Plague Marines inside. Plague Marines are meant to be medium to close-ranged units. They really like getting stuck in combat. They really like toughing it out as long as possible. Their entire thing is that, like, I just refuse to take damage. Damage I am very hard to put down. That is the entirety of the Death Guard army. That all their units are extremely tough. At the cost that your units are slower. And that the strategy for Death Guard is that you want to play War of Attrition. You don't want to do anything else, just War of Attrition. Your job is to outlast your opponent. And Death Guard are one of the better armies to do that with. They're also one of the very few armies to have a Primarch in it. They have Mortarion, who is kind of okay. I was doing laundry, what I missed. We're tier listing, because I'm sad today and I won't cheer up. As far as I'm aware, because I don't play Death Guard, though I have wanted to, like, Death Guard originally were my favorite legion. Death Guard proved to be kind of underwhelming in the grand scheme of things. Their new abilities, where they just reduce damage, is not that good in the grand scheme of things. Because it doesn't really help them stay on the field longer. They want to stay on the field. They don't really care about reducing damage. They want to save against that damage. What they had originally was like a 5+ feel no pain, where like if they took damage, they just rolled dice on a 5 or a 6 on a d6. They just ignored it. That would have been better for them, but here we are now. Death Guard are a totally viable, fun army if you want to play them, in my opinion. By the way, like I said, this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. You do not have to agree with me. Alright, from there. Knights. Knights are a interesting army. They were a late addition to the tail end of 7th edition. And basically what they were was smaller titans. Who was already ranked. Custodes at E, Genestealer Cults at... No. Custodes at F, Genestealer Cults at E, Skitarian Grey Knights at D, Genestealers, Death Guard, and Knights at C. Now on to Knights. Knights were supposed to bring Titans into 40k as a originally as a support option. You brought them in as support for your other Imperial armies, and then you could also take them by themselves. But the problem was, oh, Zoidberg, thanks for the follow. The problem with them was that there was you could only really take 4 or 5 in an army. Then 8th and 9th happened, and they got a lot more support. They got armigers, they got the new giant knights, which really added creativity to their lists. They're still giant robots at the end of the day. There's not much to get around that. The upside about taking knights is that you're taking very high, very powerful models that do a lot of damage, and that... I love 45-second ads. I'm sorry, I had to turn on ads. Knights are built to be specifically what you want them to be. And by the way, this goes for Chaos Knights too. The difference between Chaos Knights and regular Knights is that Chaos Knights add a lot more customization to your army, so you can have a knight with 2 of the same cannon, while with regular Knights you can't. The problem is that regular Knights have better synergy than Chaos Knights do. But the problem comes down to, what do you want your Knights to do? And a lot of problems start popping up with Knights because they can't do what our other armies do more naturally. Plus, they are very exposed to anti-tank fire. Sure, they'll plink off small arms fire, unless, like, your opponent is doing guard. Did I ever play Oblivion? No, I don't really care about the Elder Scrolls that much. Please do not eat me. It's not for me. I've tried. I've desperately tried. When it comes to Knights, you will always find yourself to be the army with the least amount of models on the table. Those models will hit hard, but the second one of those Knights die, there's already a massive hole in your army. And that can be a massive problem. What about the Fable? I love this game. Never played Fable. Fable was before my time, dude. I was born in 1998. Fable was around when I was, like, too tiny to play it. Yeah, I wonder if you could summon Emperor. You can't summon Emperor. Yeah, Knights are the kind of army where if you want a big, stompy army, they are your boys. They are your good boys. Alright. This is where I get a lot of flack, but I'm gonna do it. Zealots go and see. Zealots go and see. Now, a lot of people are gonna be like, what, why Zealots in C? Why Sisters of Battle in C? Why are you doing this? GW continues to not know what to fucking do with these girls. For the longest time, Sisters didn't have a book. Yeah, they went 2 editions without a book. They had a place in a magazine. And all their models were metal. For the longest time. And their playstyle was basically somewhere between Guard and Marines. Their idea was that they have the armor and weapons of Marines, but the toughness and numbers of Guard. But lack the versatility of Marines, will lack the toughness of Marines and the versatility of the Guard. That was their idea, with more holy stuff around them. Cool. Sisters on the tabletop, right now, they got hit really hard with the stick, because GW just kind of threw them a brand new character who was broken to all hell. Their entire thing is that, like, oh, if you play Psychers, we could just probably turn off on a roll of a 6. Their entire strategy is based around just getting up close and personal with bolters. They don't want to be in close combat unless it's like specially designed units to do so. But they really, really hit hard in medium range combat. And unless you are specifically designing your army to tear through them, they are pretty tough to take down. I don't like their new character. She's really much of a ball buster of a character. She's way too overpowered for what you want her to do. She's basically a smaller Gulliman. That is way better than Gulliman. How do I know this? I threw a Gulliman at her. I've done test battles against her with her stats, everything. She consistently outputs Gulliman. And no, that's not me being a Space Marine purist. But when your character is that overpowered, that she's overpowering Gulliman, you have an issue, in my opinion. Oh, they just not have regular Marines here? Fuck, they don't have regular Marines. Well, Deathwatch actually now count for that, so I'll just use Deathwatch like regular Marines because they got lumped in there. Alright. Who's next? Demons next. Oh boy, Chaos Demons. Oh boy, what do I say about them? Okay, so what are demons supposed to be on the table? Demons are a horde army with no armor. They are glass cannons, each and every one of them. The highest save that I am aware of in a demon's army is a 3+ save. And that's for the big boys. Demons are supposed to be an army that swarm the field, but what they lack in toughness, they more than make up for with numbers, combinability, and the fact that they just don't want to leave. And the fact that if they touch any unit in the game, that unit will melt. No ifs, ands, or buts. That unit will be melted the second they touch demons. Demons have little to no range. I think like their only ranged units are chariots from Tzeentch and skull cannons from Khorne. Other than that, they are strictly a close-ranged army, and they love it. Of it. And you have 4 different flavors of close combat. Of it. You have Khorne close combat, which is just, we kill elite infantry. You want elite infantry dead? We're your guys. Nice. They tear ass through infantry. Infantry, elite or otherwise. Then there's Demonettes. They also tear through infantry, but here's the thing about them. They get there faster. They won't last after killing their target, but their target's gone. A cheap unit took down a unit that was twice their points. That is awesome for what you want them to do. Demons of Nurgle. Nurglings, Plague Bearers. You put them on objective, watches your opponent, tries to melt through them, but can't. Because they just kind of stand there and laugh. Demons of Tzeentch. They're the worst combat men out of all 4 of them. But they make up for it with spellcasting. You don't want pink horrors in combat. You want them to hang out in the back and hump objectives. To stay in the back and do what, and basically just hold the line. Because after a pink horror dies, it turns into a blue horror. 2 blue horrors. And then after a blue horror dies, it turns into brimstone. And then you have your bigger, better demons after that. I don't know how they change demons now, because I haven't read the new codex for them. But from what I was told and what I've seen, is that the new greater demons really do fit into their roles better. Weaver of Fates cast a lot better. Demons of Slaanesh, Seekers of... The greater demons of Slaanesh are just a lot better across the board. Or not as tanky as the other 3, but can still lay down the hurt and always go first. Greater demons of Nurgle, great unclean ones. tanky as all hell, slow as fuck, but tanky as all hell, and decent spellcasters. Demons of Khorne. Just your balls to the wall melee tanks. They're really, really good at what you want them to do. The downside is that, like I said, demons are glass cannons. If you cannot close the gap between you and your opponent, your army's gonna get mulched. As well as that, like I said, after your demon unit kills a thing, they're most likely next. So, like, if your opponent is screening you out very well, does Chaos Undivided have an army presently? Okay, so how allying works right now in 8th edition is that you have to have 2 of the same keywords. So, in Thousand Suns, I can take Demons of Tzeentch. In Death Guard, I can take Demons of Nurgle, because we both share Nurgle keyword. Taking demons is a really tough sell to a lot of mono-marine armies, because we can take better stuff than demons right now. But you can mix and match. So we can technically do Undivided, it's just not a good strategy if you want to play competitively. It's a very fun idea if you want to play with just friends. If you're playing with just friends, I say fucking go for it. It's the funnest thing you can do, just watching your demons and your chaos lords and everything work together to tear down your opponent. It's the funnest thing. It doesn't work very well because you lose a lot of army benefits by taking both of them together. But it's a very fun thing to do. Alright. We're still in C. Holy fuck. Okay. Actually, no. Marines are Blood Angels and Space Wolves in one book. Holy shit. And Dark Angels. What the fuck? Okay, so I'm gonna take this out of the way right now. Marines go in A for me. They are not S. They are not S. I'll explain it a bit later when we get there. But for now, let's focus on what's going on right now. Unsure of how this works currently. No. Okay, so Marines are very weird right now. Marines cannot ally with Marines. Because all Marines come from the same book now. You can't ally Marines with Marines. Yeah, they put all the Marines in one book, children. Make it make sense. Anyway. The last of the C's for me. Necrons. Motherfucking boy! Necrons are C tier. I can't tell that what the fuck is from, I can't tell if the what the fuck is from, for me putting Necrons in C tier or not. I can't tell if that's what that's from. I'll explain in a minute. It's for the Marines. Ah, okay. Thank you. Necrons are top C for me, bottom B. E. Necrons right now, they have lost their identity in modern 40k. The original idea of Necrons is that their universal ability was that they don't want to stay dead. They will keep coming back. They were 40k's answer. They were 40k's undead. They do not want to die. They keep coming back. They stay coming back. Like, I started in 5th edition. These guys would not stay dead. They had every chance to come back every turn. You had to make sure a unit was completely wiped out, because if one model survived, 2 were coming back, on average. I believe like the roll was like a 5 or a 6 every time like a model died, unless you had a resurrection orb nearby. Now, it is... Now they've changed that entirely for this edition. Is that now it is... You have to roll an amount of dice equal to the amount of wounds that were lost for the unit. And for each success of a 6, you have to have as many dice, roll as many 6s as that model had wounds to come back. So say if you have a Necron Warrior, you lost like 5 Necron Warriors, roll a dice, roll 5 dice, roll a 6, 1 model comes back. As an example. Now roll for a unit that has 2 wounds per model. You now have to roll twice as many dice to potentially get 1 model back. And after that roll, they're gone. They're dead. They're not coming back. There are ways to make it better, but they're only once per turn effects. After that, Necrons are one of the easiest armies to play, in my opinion. They don't have a lot of stuff that makes them complicated. They are very easy to pick up and play army. I know a lot of people who started 40k playing Necrons. And Necrons have a lot of fun combos, too. Ooh. Yeah, sure, they lost their identity by losing out on their revive ability. Their revive ability has been the worst I've seen it in years. I was fine with the get back up on a 5 or 6 mix with things once per game. And so long as the unit was alive, like not every turn, just make it like at the end of the turn they come back. I'm back once per turn. But making it the way they made it now really hurt them. And as well as, like, a lot of their characters are from the same dynasty. There's no variety in their characters. All of them come from the Sautekh dynasty. And that's boring. What makes an army worth playing? That they have different variations with different characters to play. Which then brings me to... bottom of B, Eldar. Oh boy, the pointy ears, the elves. By the way, they lumped in Harlequins and Ynnari into the Eldar book to save face. A good decision in my opinion. I'll get into my opinion about the Space Marine lumping in together in a minute. Eldar are the ultimate army of I play however the fuck I want to. You want a fast attack army that's just built on speed and getting to where you want as fast as possible? They're your boys. You want them to be a ranged army with good anti-tank and infantry options? They're your boys. You want them to be a good casting army that can cast spells and sling them like the best? They're your army. Space Marines were considered the jacks of all trades. Eldar are considered the if I want to specialize in something, I'm going to specialize in something army. If you want your Eldar to specialize in one way of warfare, they are the masters of it. You want them to take tanks? They got tanks. You want them to take heavy infantry? They got heavy infantry. You want to look at a Blood Angel and say, I can do what you do, but better? There you go. The problem with them is that they are a very fragile army, unless you're taking a Wraith army. Eldar are notoriously fragile. They do not survive out in the open. So when you're playing Eldar, you've got to be a little bit trickier with how you play. Hey, if you're a shooting army, you want to avoid close combat like the plague. If you are a charging army, you get in, you get out as fast as possible. A lot of Eldar has a lot of things built to do that. Their armies are built to do that. And their different craft worlds are very good at helping out specific playstyles. You want to play fast tech? Samahan. Samahan is your best friend for fast. You want to be all ranged? Ulthwé. Ulthwé is your best casting and range option. Option Ienden, best option for Wraiths. It's because they have a lot of Wraith support. The problem comes from that your army gets too specialized. You can fill in the gaps with special units like Banshee, Scorpions, Warp Spiders, Swooping Hawks, Flame Dragoons, Dark Reapers, Rangers, and Striking Avengers. Well, Dire Avengers. But you're filling in gaps in an army. Army with units that are going to cost way more than your regular units. Eldar are another good starter army. And now they've also had Harlequins and Ynnari lumped into them. Harlequins are your ultimate glass cannons. They have no save, but they hit fucking hard and really fucking fast. In fact, if you want my personal opinion, I fucking hate Harlequins. They are the worst army in my opinion when it comes to just how unnecessarily powerful they had to be. All their pistols are melta-guns, all their swords are as dangerous as my Kopeshes for my Terminators. They are really fucking annoying and I hate them. Ynnari is supposed to be a mix of Harlequins, Dark Eldar, and Eldar. And essentially they get all the benefits, but all the downsides. The difference is that you do want your models to die, so that way your big ultimate unit could come out, which is the Yakar, which is basically the Eldar version of the Grim Reaper. Basically, if you want another solid army that you just want to specialize in, Eldar are a good choice. All right, but what if you don't want the sleek? What if you want the benefits of being in both sides of the coin, but still be fast? Dark Eldar. I tried playing Dark Eldar. I actually gave them a shot. I gave them a fair shake. I didn't like how fragile they were, but that's just me. But you don't top the charts by not trying. Dark Eldar is one of the most complicated armies you can play in 40k, and that is their major downside to me. Their entire army is so complicated to play because you need to do specific things to make things work. And you have to keep track of different things. And they have 3 specializations that you can intermix within an army. You could take Cabals, which are your ranged options with some melee options, but they're mostly ranged. And their ranged weapons are poisoned, so they're always hurting infantry, always on a set number. They don't get worse, they don't get better, they stay at that number, which is 4s, which is pretty good. Now, a lot of people look at that, oh, it's a 50-50 shot to hurt people. It's a 50-50 shot to hurt anything that's not a vehicle. Monsters included. You have a bigger advantage on shooting out with other people, because you don't care about my toughness. You care that I take the damage. Their close combat units are pretty good too. They're good infantry munchers. They're good horde clearers. They struggle with killing things that are bigger than them. Like, I'm never going to throw a witch unit at a Terminator unit. They're just not going to eat that. They're going to get eaten alive. But if I throw them at infantry that isn't as heavily armored, they tear through them. And then there's the homunculus covens. Homunculi just kind of fit what you need. You need anti-infantry, they're your boys. You need anti-tank, they're your boys. But here's another thing. Dark Eldar have one of the best transports in the game, bar none. Open-topped, fly, can go anywhere you want it to, and is super fast. So they can bug in, bug out as fast as possible, and have good shooting to boot. They're your only anti-tank options that are not close combat, and they are good. They will take down anything you need them to and fly away before your opponent can respond. They are a good, solid, complicated army to play. If you are starting 40k, I really don't recommend starting with Dark Eldar. But if you really, really want to start with them, be ready to have a very fun time customizing your army how you want them to, how you want them to play, having very interesting and fun characters to play with, which is Drazar and Lilith Hesperex. Both of them are really, really good. But, like I said, downside is they're complicated. They have a lot of nitpicky stuff that, like, they synergize well with each other. Next up, they're your boys. The Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard. They are the quantity over quality army in 40k. Your shooting is shit, your close combat is shit, and your armor is shit. The difference is, I have more bodies than you do. I have more shooting than you do. I am going to drown you in bodies. Guard live off of being the army that needs to be in range of characters, that needs to be in range of officers, whether they be in tanks or there are foot sluggers. They need their command to work. And when you are up against a competent guard player, you are not breaking that line. The problem for me right now for guard comes from the fact that right now, especially with the new book that's coming out, we're going to be seeing a lot more tank spam. We're going to be seeing a lot more artillery spam and a lot more tank spam. Because Guard just went from quantity to quality quantity. You're getting a lot of good units for no reason at all. But arty is good for them, no? Yeah, no, artillery is great for them. But Guard were meant to be able to do anything. They were just quantity of that thing. I.e., I have quantity of artillery. I have quantity of tanks. I have quantity of infantry. All of them, in comparison to anything else, aside from the Leman Russ, suck. So like the Marines in Halo Wars. Yes. They specialize in what you want them to. They're just not going to be very good at it. I want my army to be an anti-infantry army. Okay. Just expect them to get mulched. I want my army to be an anti-tank army. Okay. Just expect the enemy to take down your tanks very fast. Yeah, using dice by the bucket. That's the strategy. When it comes to Guard, the most impressive thing from Guard for the longest time was their tank, the Leman Russ, set the standard. If your tank was as survivable as a Leman Russ and was as killy as a Leman Russ, it was a good tank. If it could not hurt a Leman Russ, it was not a good tank. The Leman Russ just got outclassed recently by the Rogal Dorn. But the Rogal Dorn is probably going to be more expensive, so the Leman Russ is still going to be top dog. The problem comes from the fact that now Guard have such strong abilities that they don't give a shit anymore, and they did go from the quantity to quality army. That's kind of sad. It'll lead to much less interesting armies in the long run when it comes to Warhammer 40k. And I hate that. I hate that, like, a lot of the options are just going to be like, nah, fuck it, I'll just take tanks. I'll just take artillery. I don't care about anything else. No Hellhounds. No heavy weapons teams. Nor Ogrins. Nah. And that is a response to how they were treated in 8th edition. To say the least of which, it was bad. In 8th, like right now, before the Guard Codex comes out, you have to hop through 5 books to get all of your rules. 5! Because GW didn't plan it. That's insane. But now we're taking the worst parts about Guard competitively, and we're making that the army. I.e., don't make other units good so that way you have options. Just make the already good units even fucking better. That's not a solution. That's what brought them from A to B for me. That's why I'm sad about them. I don't want to look at my Guard anymore. My Guard make me sad to look at. Because, like, they're overpowered. And no one wants to play against an overpowered army. Moving on. Finally, into A tier. Tau went from C to A for me this edition. The Tau finally reached the playstyle that I like for them. They are no longer just Guard with a different paint job. They want to be a mobile, hard-hitting, fast-hitting army. They can hang in the back, they can get up in your face. The only problem with them is that they suck in close combat. They will melt in close combat, which is fine. Every army has a weakness. But that weakness makes them much more interesting than it does a downsides are good for an army, in my opinion. They make an army much more interesting. They make you have to think just as much and harder. Having to position Tau in such ways that they will not get charged, that they will not get melted by a close combat weapon because they can't fight back to save their lives, is a really good thing. Now, for the longest time, the strategy was just stay as far back in the back as possible, just shoot everything that comes your way. That's boring. Every other Tau game I saw, everybody was just playing regular Tau, just shooting everything from the back, nothing else. Now I'm seeing different Tau tactics and styles because their army rules encourage them to get closer. It encourages them to keep moving. Don't stop, keep moving. Yeah, they are the long-range Yeetus Deletus army. But they can move finally. They can move without worry. They can move without, like, fucking over their entire playstyle. Before now, if a Tau unit moved an inch, their entire army was fucked. They couldn't do anything. All their stuff just, like, melted in an instant. It just wasn't a good idea. Now, I can keep those units separated, but still working together in synergy. Pathfinders, I no longer have to just keep them around. I don't need Pathfinders anymore. If I don't want them, I don't need them. Every Tau army included 3 units of fucking Pathfinders. Every time. But the army that I play now for Tau is Farsight Enclave. And Farsight Enclave encourages me to use my favorite Tau unit, the Breacher Squad, get as close as possible, blast away. I saw units melt to Tau Breacher fire. And guess what? No one took Breachers. Because they were counterintuitive to what you wanted for a Tau army back in the day. Breachers now? what style you playing. And because they can either be a good support unit, or they can be the core foundation of your army. And another thing, I love Tau aesthetics. Oh my god, I love how the Tau look. The Tau are like a design aesthetic that I love. I love sleek. I love their sleek looks. I love how their armor looks. When I think futuristic, I think like Tau stuff. I think of like their floating tanks. I think of their gunships. I think of Pulsefire. I really, really like the design of Tau. Oh. Their entire aesthetic does it for me. Yeah, sure, they may be British people with pew-pew guns, but I like them. Alright, now to talk about this shit show up here. Space Marines are the poster boys of 40k. The army that most people start with. They are good at everything, masters of none. Unless you specifically jump into chapters that want to do specific things. You want to play Blood Angels for the best close combat units in the game? They're your boys. You want to play Space Wolves for the feeling of playing a Viking and having more characters that you could shake a stick at? Play Wolves. They are also a good close combat army. Don't hit as hard as Blood Angels do, but they hit more consistently with more attacks. Dark Angels. You want a solid army of knights that just either can shoot, go fast, or tank, or have a mix of the three. They're one of the armies that can do all three at the same time and actually do a good job at it. Dark Angels are your boys. Their Terminators are tough, their Bikers are fast, and their Green Wing is good at shooting. Then there's Deathwatch, which are basically, why the fuck do I even need Grey Knights when they're around? Deathwatch is your highly specialized kill teams. They look at specific units, they say, nah, bitch, you don't get that shit. We're specifically designed to kill you. And have one of the coolest gunships in all of Warhammer, in my opinion. Space Marines are jacks of all trades. They're good at everything. They have good shooting, they have good close combat, they have good armor, good stats. The problem comes from the fact that you will always be outnumbered by your opponent. Your opponent will always bring more than you. But that's fine. You have everything you need to counter everything on the table if you so choose. As well, Marines are one of the most highly customizable armies in all of 40k. You want your own chapter? Go ahead, paint them whatever color you want. You don't even have to hail from one of the original legions. You can be your own with your own custom chapter rules. That's right, they made your own custom chapter rules. But what if you want to play Ultramarines, Raven Guard, all that kind of... Well, you can. Ultramarines focus on synergy. They focus on having auras overlapping. Focus on working as a team. Raven Guard focus on infiltration. They focus on going fast, getting behind enemy lines, finding the weak point in the enemy line, and smashing into it. White Scars focus on headlong charges into the enemy as fast as possible. Salamanders focus on just taking as much damage as possible, getting as close as possible, and burning them out while also melting tanks. Iron Hands focused on repairing each other, focused on just toughing it out, playing the war of attrition game. And they arguably do it better than Death Guard do. Ooh. Their entire status quo is based around what you want Marines to do. Ooh. And how you can make Marines fit your style. The problem with Marines comes down to if your opponent builds to fight Marines. You are one of the easiest armies to plan around. Everybody knows what you are. Difference is, what flavor are you coming in? We all know Coca-Cola. What flavor are you coming in? But you can't go wrong with playing Marines. And like I said, they're the most customizable army in 40k. You want female Marine chapter? Do it. You want chapter based on the Salamanders? Do it. You have all the creative freedom in the world to make your chapter how you want to make your chapter, which is the most important thing when it comes to a creative hobby like 40k. And now we get to the top of A tier. Chaos Marines edge out their loyalist brethren by a hair's breadth. You know why? Because they have everything that Marines have, minus a few. But instead of having Eliminators, instead of having the new Primaris tanks, they get Demon Engines. They get Chosen. They get Possessed. They get Cultists. They get a lot more interesting things than Marines do. Chaos Marines still have the we're good at everything. But what they change is the numbers. Sure, I can do what Marines do. But I brought like 30 fucking cultists. Or I just have better tanks than you do. Or I have actual artillery. That means a fucking thing. And my artillery, unlike yours, can fight back. You best believe I'm gonna do whatever I want. Damn right. And you wanna know something else about Chaos? I said Marines are one of the most creative armies that you can make. Chaos go above and beyond hobby-wise. You want your Chaos Lord to have a tentacle? It makes all the fucking sense to give him a tentacle arm and then say that shit's a flamethrower. Or, because it works. It makes sense. Chaos Marines can come from anywhere. Cultists can come from anywhere. Here, demons literally come from anywhere. Anywhere. You want a female Space Marine army and you want those lore jackasses to fuck off? Hey, look, my warband is Slaanesh. They all were regular Marines that were made into women by Slaanesh. Or you could play a Tzeentch army and do that. Or you could play a Khorne army and do that. Remember, Valky is a thing. The 4 dedicated Chaos Gods really help an army that goes from we're jack of all trades to finally being masters of something. At the cost of doing nothing else. Plague Marines, masters of holding the line. You want a good Chaos army that holds the line? You take Nurgle. You want an army that's really good at shooting? You take Slaanesh. You want an army that's really good at hacking things to bits? Khorne is your boy. But what if you want to play Undivided? You can do that too! Undivided can take all 4 of them. You want Khorne Berserkers in your Black Legion? There you fucking go. You want Noise Marines and your Red Corsairs? There you go. You want Thousand Suns in your Iron Warriors? Even though that doesn't make any fucking sense, there you fucking go. Chaos Marines have the best synergy in the game, in my opinion. They can do whatever you want. They are the ultimate, we aim to please, baby. And with their new update, I have not seen Chaos be this good in years. And not like, oh, they're broken. No, they are perfect. These guys actually fit what I want them to do. I'm playing Black Legion now because I like them so much. But I am just as happy to play Emperor's Children or Iron Warriors because their abilities are good. Red Corsairs! I never thought I'd touch Red Corsairs before. But here we are. They are just as viable an option. Don't ask me, ask GW. They're fucking weird. Chaos Marines are the ultimate creative army, in my opinion, if you want to do your own thing. They are. They can be whatever you want them to be. My friend from the States who lives in the United States, she was over in Iraq because she's part of the military. She got into Warhammer while over there. And she chose the World Eaters because they fit her aggressive playstyle. Sure, she can't shoot for shit, but let's see you survive 50 chain axe attacks, kid. I've even seen an entire Barbie BDSM army made for Slaanesh from the Emperor's Children. I've seen it. I've lived it. I've fought it. It was terrifying. But that was the most creative army I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't have pictures, sadly. I have the memories. I have the memories. You have to take me at my word. But it was great. And Chaos players, most of them are extremely nice people, and they're the people that usually side with me in my arguments. We know what we are. We're a bunch of traitorous bastards, and we fucking love it. Alright, S tier. These two are solely my opinion. I am heavily fucking biased towards them. Bottom of S, just above A. He's the Green Toad, the biggest, the baddest. Nothing ever comes close to us. The Orcs. You want Mad Max? You want Trash Boys? You want guys that just are the fucking joke of 40k, but are unironically the most successful race in all of Warhammer, with the best close combat ability in the entire game, and bar none, and shooting that does leave something to be desired, but there's so fucking many of us that one of us will hit you. Orcs have always been the, if you want to just punch things, Orcs are your boys. You need a fuck ton of them to play, but you are always the life of the party when you bring Orcs. Now, I said that Chaos and Marines were the most creative armies that you could make for Warhammer. Guess what, Beebs? Orcs are the most creative when it comes to models. You know why? You can kit bash. You can take whatever you want. I want an Orc truck, but I don't like the Orc truck. I don't like the standard Orc truck model. But you know what model I do like that's the same size? I like the Genestealer Cult's Goliath. I'm going to take that and use that as a truck. I don't really like the Battle Wagon for the Orcs. It's a little too thin. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the Land Raider. I'm going to take the Land Raider, slap a fucking cement roller on it with spikes. There's my Bone Breaker. I want my boys to do what I want. I literally won tournaments with Orcs because I just drowned people in bodies. And that I just played stupid aggressive. With Orcs, you never slow down. Orcs just want to get in, get stuck in as fast as humanly possible. They are the most brain-dead army that you can play. But you want to know what makes brain-dead fun? It's fun being brain-dead. It's fun taking 30 models and throwing them at your opponent and say, fucking deal with it. I've looked my opponent dead in the eye when it came to Be'lakor, one of the hardest models to hit in all of 40k right now. 30 boys charge Be'lakor. That is 120 plus attacks going into him with sixes that add extra attacks if I roll them. Wounding on 5s and 6s, but hitting on 3s. Or 2s, depending on what you do. Orcs hit the hardest when it comes to everything. They are the quantity over quality. They are always the standard for what 40k wants to do. You want to see how well 40k is doing? Look at how orcs are doing. If 40k is a much more fun environment, you'll be seeing more orc players. If 40k is a much more competitive environment, orc players are little to none. But they are usually the ones holding top 8. I melted a Be'lakor. I melted different armies just by charging into them. I've won tournaments with orcs because my mindset never changed when it came to them. Get stuck in, hit just as hard, and if you're still losing models, who cares? Keep hitting it till you're dead or they're dead. And orcs, arguably, are a better army for beginners. Because you know why? You always win as an orc. You always win as an orc. Because the mentality is, you had a good fight. You got stuck in, you had a good fight, you punched above your belt, and you had a good time. And you had a good laugh. Orcs are the army where you and your friends can have a laugh with. And that means much more to me than winning any game does. Because every time I played orcs, it's always been a good time. It's always been a laugh. And since Ghazghkull got a model update, Ghazghkull is now one of my favorite models in all of Warhammer 40,000. I love the Ghazghkull model. I love the junk look. I like sleek. I like stylish. But I also am a fucking shill for something that looks like you found it in the bargain bin of a dump. And Ghazghkull, oh my god. This model looks amazing. It is one of the best I've ever seen in my entire life. I need to close that down. I love the Ghazghkull model. And his new rules and everything just makes sense for a big guy like him. Sure, you can target him, but he's not going down without a fight. And I have 1,000 more things that are much more dangerous than him. He just makes them much more dangerous. So, my orcs then become a threat assessment for you. I'm going to charge you either way. It just depends if you want me to have rerolls with +1 attacks on top of that. So you either whittle down my orcs to make them less of a threat, or you take down the big guy as fast as possible at the risk of not whittling down my forces. Now, I know it's not healthy, but I've had 800 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm about to hop on R6 and get cracked. Do what you need to do. The downside to orcs is your armor save. You have no armor, you will get fucking zogged. But you're tough as nails, and it's hard to bring you down. Both spirit-wise and army-wise. Your morale also sucks. You got a boss there to make sure they don't run. Don't worry about it. Alright. Now, for my favorite army of all time. Thousand Sons. The Thousand Sons. They are my favorite army of all time. I love their aesthetic. They are the combination of sleek and bulky that I like. They have an Egyptian theme to them, and I really love what they did with the Egyptian theme. I love their style, I love their colors, I love their lore. But most importantly, I love their playstyle. I love the Thousand Suns playstyle. Their entire playstyle revolves around this. We throw out magic, both to hinder our opponents, to damage our opponents, and to help us. And our units? Yeah, right now in 9th edition, Thousand Suns are the tankiest army that you can get your hands on to this day. Oh, we're just talking about 40k armies. So, why are they now the most tankiest army in the world? Well, you see, children, the Thousand Suns are no longer flesh and blood. They're dust. They're dust inside suits of armor that are animated and puppeted by their sorcerers. So they have a special rule: all is dust. As long as an enemy's attack is 1 damage. Oh, okay. Well, this is Warhammer 40,000. This is a tabletop game that you play with your friends over the course of like an hour or 3. Thousand Suns, all his dust ability adds 1 to their save. Imagine this. Imagine this. I'm going to break this down in D&D terms for you guys. Imagine that your AC gets better because your opponent is hitting you with a weapon that does d6 damage. Or a spell that does d6 damage. Your AC gets better. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Wonderful. That's absolutely insane. Now add that to all Marine types for Thousand Suns, while still having the armory of regular Chaos Marines minus a few units. But we don't need those units. I don't need an anti-tank unit for my Thousand Suns anymore. I just cast spells. I just drown you in shots. All of our bolters are armor penetrating. We don't care about your armor. We're gonna kill you anyways. I have no knowledge of this franchise. I'm very well versed in Star Wars lore and Gears of War lore. Oh, cool. I think you'd actually like 40k then, honestly. I think you'd like it. It's a bit expensive to get into, but it's a good series. It's a good series. Cool on the Gears of War lore, though. So, what do you do from here with Thousand Suns? What makes them the most strongest army, like, most toughest army in the game? GW did a stupid fucking thing where they gave us Armor of Contempt. If you're wondering what that rule is that it reduces all enemy armor penetration by 1. That's insane. Now, they balanced it by saying, oh, but if you have a thing that makes AP worse, you don't get Armor of Contempt. All this dust doesn't make your armor penetration worse. It makes my save better. This unit here, the Rubric Terminators, they are number 1. They are number 1 in the entirety of Warhammer 40k. They are the best unit, bar none. Because they're hard to take down. They can get units back by regeneration. They have the best shooting in the game because they just pump out so many shots down range. Hi, love your TikTok. Thank you, Woods. I appreciate you. And they have a spellcaster among them. That's right, Thousand Suns get spellcasters and their squads in their infantry. They do what Grey Knights do, but better. And that is awesome. The downside of Thousand Suns is that your army is very expensive, your army is very slow, unless you take a specific cult to deny that slowness. And even then, you can only use one different psychic power per turn unless it's Smite. But I don't need to worry about that. Thousand Suns are one of the tankiest armies in the game, and I love them so much. They fit my playstyle. Slow, aggressive movement with putting a unit behind somebody to freak them the fuck out. Thousand Sons are my army. And yeah, they may be the nerds of Warhammer, but I love them very, very much. Oh, they can be. Considering that most magic, you can't really stop the damage that comes from magic in Warhammer. But let's see what else we can do. Oh, maybe we could do like 2010 cartoons? Oh, hell yeah! I was going to quickly go through this and choose cartoons that I have no idea what the fuck they are. Doop. 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 Haven't watched you, so I don't get an opinion. Don't know what the fuck you are. Nope. How about nope? Nope. No idea what you are. Don't get an opinion on you. Neither about you. Haha, you have a pro pedophile on your side. No thank you. Nope. Haven't watched you either. Final Space, haven't watched you. Plus, I heard your main character's annoying as shit. Don't know what that is. Haven't watched BoJack. Haven't watched you. Okay. We got a good list here. Good list of shows. We'll start with Invincible. Invincible, with its animation and its story the story that it wants to tell, very good. It's not just a what if Superman was bad kind of story. Or it's a lot more like down to earth, breaking down superheroes in like kids and stuff, and that like, hey, what would it be like to be like Superman as a kid, but your dad is an evil Superman who has to redeem himself. It's very good. The show's animation quality sucked. It was bad. And Mark can be kind of annoying. He'd be kind of problematic, but it's a good show overall. Good show overall. I give it an A. Good job. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Oh. This show's gay as fuck. This show gay as fuck, and I love it. Yes, there are sub-characters that annoy the fuck out of me. I'm looking at you, you little ice bitch, and you fucking horse. I hate those two characters. But you know what I love? I love our girl Scorpia. I love big Scorpion Mommy. I love how this show just does its characters. Yeah, is it perfect? No, there are episodes that are like, Jesus Christ, get it over with. And the main villain, like, the final villain of the series, we don't really have a good connection with him. He keeps trying to, like, be connected to She-Ra, but, like, it's just not there. And it's just not interesting with him. But you know what I live for? I live for fucking Catra's petty fucking personality. I live for her. Her pettiness, she is one of the villains that is unpredictably dangerous because she goes off the hinge. And you know what's the best thing possible? They don't give Catra a fucking inch. She doesn't just be accepted by the good guys. The guys, it takes time for them to warm up to her. Because she did a lot of shitty things. And she has to suffer for it. And nothing brings out the best in a character outside of suffering. They have to learn from their mistakes. And She-Ra? Top of A, bottom S. Hazbin Hotel. We've had one episode. The fan base has annoyed me to fuck. And it we'll see what happens. I don't have very many opinions on it. Oh, Star. Star vs. the Force of Evil gets a B. Its first 2 seasons, great. Isn't she kind of Yes! She is! Fuck! Okay. I'll explain myself. Season 1 and 2 of Star vs. the Force of Evil is good. Its humor is hit or miss for me. It's very, lol, so random. It's good. It's a good show. Season 3 has its problems. Season 4 can go to hell. When Star wanted to take itself seriously, it was good. What ruined the show was shipping. They were so piss scared to have 2 main characters not hook up. They were piss scared of it. But they caved. They gave in. And it ruined the rest of the series. We had a much more fun dynamic with Marco and Star being best friends that didn't care about the romantic side of them. They were just best friends. That was better. But no. Then season 4 happened, and it's just, nah, we won't blame like the 1,000 years of racism on people being shitty. We'll blame it on magic. Magic made everything worse. Even though there's multiple creatures that rely on magic, who are just as sentient as everyone else, who don't get a fucking say, and they're just gone. They're gone. They're dead. They're not coming back. They were just as much people as the rest of them, and they're fucking dead. Fuck learning from your mistakes. They're just dead. Because it was magic that was the problem. Magic caused racism. No, it didn't. That is stupid as fuck. Fuck you, Star vs. the Force of Evil 4th season. You don't exist in my brain. You are dead. Fuck you. Also, the lizard was overhyped. Fuck the lizard. DuckTales. It has a good opening, do not get me wrong. Like I said, it gets B for a reason. Oh boy, DuckTales! Doo-doo goes to S! Funny as hell, wonderfully animated, got to end on its own terms. Hot diggity damn! And DuckTales reboot was great. They made Scrooge a character with depth. They made Huey, Dewey, and Louie a character with depth. They made Webby. A character who was just supposed to be girl. Oh, who's that one? It's the girl. She does all the girly things. No, they made her perfect, in my opinion. She was a lone child who was weird and wacky, but not weirdly weird. She wasn't weird, like annoying weird. She was good weird. And that is great. She was a kid. All 4 of them were kids. They are written to be like kids. Very wild, different kids. But when you have a scene where Webby, like, straight up knocks Huey on his ass, and while he's screaming, "Safe zone! Safe zone!" and she says, "This isn't a safe zone. It's a tomb." That shit is funny to me. And the fact that Donald isn't just like, "Oh, I'm the responsible one." He's a guy just trying to get by, who's trying to take care of the kids. They did a wonderful job with this series. And it sucks that it got canceled, but I'm glad they got to end it how they wanted to end it. And it ended on a really good twist. I won't spoil it, but it's really, really damn good. Good job, guys. You did wonderful. Miraculous Ladybug! Your entire show is about shipping and piss off. You can make it as good 3D animation as you want. When you are making it all about Cat Noir and Ladybug's love life, I'm gonna fucking hate you. Alright. My fiance hates me for this. I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this. And it's not for the reasons you think. Allow me to explain myself. Steven Universe, in my opinion, is bad. I'm gonna get crucified, but I don't care. I don't care. Steven Universe is bad. To me. To me. And why is that? Well, people try to separate Steven Universe and Steven Universe Future. No, they're all the same show. Cartoon Network's a fucking asshole. Steven Universe meanders. It does nothing. It's just Steven doing cute things. Okay. And then all of a sudden, he's thrust into galactic politics. He has to do all this. He has to do all that. The gems, they're completely fucking useless. They can't do anything on their own. You ever wanted a final battle where the kid basically has to jump through people, telling them that, hey, don't feel bad about yourself. I'm here to tell you how good of a person you are. Instead of these characters who've been built up for the entire show, that they have to get over their own problems and, like, work through it all. Fuck off that the 10-year-old has to do all that. Fuck off. The plot cannot do anything if Steven isn't there. The universe can't move if Steven isn't there. Here. And literally, Steven Universe Future is watching that 10-year-old become a teenager and have a fucking meltdown. Because, hey guys, the one good thing that I thought Steven Universe was going to do was point out, hey, all of Steven's parental figures are kind of shit. Because they were either neglectful, not there emotionally for him, or weren't there physically for him. His mom is literally the worst character in all of animation. His mom is the worst character in all of animation. She just left all of her problems to Steven. Bye, son! You want... People are like, Goku's worst father of the year. Yeah, well, at least he was fucking there! And how do they solve it? How does the series end? Nah, fucking Steven goes kaiju. Steven goes fucking Godzilla. And they solve it with a hug! They solve it with a hug and say, hey, Steven, you should go on a road trip. As a person who suffers from mental health problems, I suffer with depression. I suffer with self-worth. I have trouble talking to people about my problems. You know what Steven Universe Future just told you to do? Go on vacation. Just a hug will solve your problems. Don't worry about it. Now, you that PTSD you got from being the sole factor of this universe, don't worry about it. Steven Universe is the worst fucking cartoon in the 2010s for me because of what it did and what it tried to represent. I don't care about the LGBTQ representation in it. I don't care that it was the first openly queer show. That does not excuse it from how it treats mental health, how it treats toxic relationships, how it treats that the worst kinds of people can just get away with whatever the fuck they want. Moving on. Hell of a... Hey!
I will agree with you on that one, boss. Actually,
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the Steven Universe crowd to come kill me. My door. It may have a lock on it, but I'm waiting for that crucifixion.
Like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. You have my sword.
All right, hell of a boss. Oh boy, it is B. It is a B tier show.
I haven't actually watched it.
It's more of an episodic comedy with some elements that continue on. The problem is that it's funny. It gets jokes down really well, and the entire cast is nothing but train wrecks, in both the best and worst ways possible. And that's the point. They're all from hell. But it tries to take its topics a little bit more seriously than what I think it's capable of doing. It brings up topics of domestic violence, topics of how orphans are treated like shit, how abusive families can damage someone and their relationships. The problem is that it also tries to make these funny. And that can be a problem.
Yeah.
Like the relationship abuse. It's very hard to write that scene seriously when the scene previously was the wife screaming at her husband, "What the fuck was that, Stolas?" And by the way, this is a very funny line. That was the sound of a fucking divorce. That's a funny line, but then you cut to the next scene and it tries to play it straight. Where, like, the wife is trying to physically abuse her husband. It's very hard to play that straight. And they're trying. I give them that. And it, as well, like, I give the animation very much a lot of leeway because this is a YouTube animated series. I give it a lot of leeway with that. It's not going to have the same quality as a AAA studio will put out. Perfectly fine. It's B right now. We'll see what happens as more come out. Dragon Prince. I forgot I haven't watched it. Legend of Korra. Oh boy. Oh boy. Bottom A, top B. Korra has some really good ideas in it. Except season 2. We don't talk about season 2. It doesn't exist. Korra... A lot of my problems come down to how Nickelodeon treated Korra. How it wasn't given a fair shake. How Nickelodeon told them, you can't have an overarching plot. You can't do this or that. Korra was capped at the knees from the start. I understand how hard it was to write the show. And, they had 4 seasons. Season 1 was okay. Season 2 doesn't exist. Season 3, the best season. Season 4, above season 1. It's the second best season of the 4. Korra had a really tough time because it too had a problem with the shipping. The shipping war was annoying as fuck. You had Korra bouncing between a worse version of Zuko and just being ping-ponged around. Her personality at the start was very fucking annoying because it was like, I'm the Avatar, I should do whatever the fuck I want. But adding the context to that was actually really good. Korra's world was a lot more interesting. Korra's world was very fun. I liked the bending sport. I liked the idea that, like, there's a game for it. And that was really fun to me. I like that Aang wasn't a good father. I like that interesting part. I like that Aang was a good person. Doesn't mean he's a good parental figure. He sort of just kind of left his 2 other kids to Katara while he focused on Tenzin, who, by the way, is played by the ever so lovable J.K. Simmons. Holy fuck. I love J.K. Simmons as an actor. He's great. Legend of Korra did more to expand the world, but I have a lot of criticisms of Korra. Like I said, the romance can get annoying. A lot of things are not getting enough time to stew. It's villains. Villains are very, very good. We just don't have enough time with them. And like I said, it all caps off to how Nickelodeon treated the series. And the fact that Season 4 was just giant robot fights. I didn't need Gundam in my Avatar, but here we are. It really came down to how you feel about the characters. In that they really tried to recapture Team Avatar with Sokka, Katara, Toph, Aang, Zuko, Suki, and it didn't work. The characters overall, like the other characters that are not the main team, they are much more interesting than the main team. But Legend of Korra beat out Steven Universe by having the first on-screen, first LGBTQ kiss in animated series for a kid show. And that speaks volumes. And it wasn't that it was forced. It wasn't forced at all. It was naturally developed over time. Korra gets a bad rep, but I sat through all the series, because I own it. Like, we own it now, me and my fiancé. I sat through everything. What holds Korra back was the development hell that it went through and some key decisions that really hampered the story. On to the best show of all fucking time. What do I say that hasn't been said? We all know it belongs up there. It's the best show of all time. Fuck you if you say otherwise. And if anybody else wants to point out the Great Divide to me, we just ignore it like the fucking play did. Alright. Rick and Morty. Ah, you are top of C, but you are C to me. Rick and Morty is a show that really tries to be funny, but it's way too depressing for me. It tends to have a more nihilistic view of the world. And just, it depends on how you like your characters being fucking assholes to one another. I'm not all for it. And I don't like it when Rick's always right. I like it when Rick can be wrong. But the show tries to have its cake and eat it too, and I fell off of it. Yeah, Tom Clicks, you're right. First two seasons were bangers, rest of it fell off. Adventure Time!
Don't grab your friends.
Adventure Time is A. It's a good show. Good show. Good relationships. Good breakdown of relationships. I fell off of it after Flame Princess and Finn broke up because I was going through a lot of mental health issues at the time, and I just didn't want to keep watching a show that was miserable. However, Adventure Time has had one of the most mature explorations of who you are as an individual and your relationships and such. Finn goes from a headstrong kid to someone who still has problems, but he's always willing to learn from them. He's not a good person, but he's trying to be a better person, which is what matters. And I like that the show is mature enough to say that, hey, you don't always have to reconnect with your shitty parents. It also has a very mature thing where it deals with kids. Like, Jake's entire arc is like, how do I deal with my kids? Or like, how do my kids deal with me? And that Adventure Time's entire philosophy is that they can't tell other people how to live their lives. We can help them, we can guide them a little bit, but what they decide in the end is what they decide in the end. It has a lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments, a lot of stupid humor. But when Adventure Time really wants to speak, it has a really good time speaking. Later. Oh, thank you, Nadarok. Oh no, Blue, thank you for this. Thank you for the sub, buddy.
Yeah, I give the sub to somebody.
Regular show. Oh boy, you are top of A, but you are just out of S, buddy. Regular show does a really good job of being a funny show. Like, the memes are great. The episodes, most of them were bangers. And, like, it had a lot to say with its characters that not everybody was as you saw them. Mordecai wasn't a lazy person. Yeah, sure, you wanted to have fun, but Mordecai was actually really smart. Rigby was a piece of shit that had to learn to be a better person. His girlfriend doesn't just, like, roll over for him. No, she looks at him and says, no, fuck you. If you want to be with me, you have to work for it. You have to be a better person. And guess what? Rigby, instead of being a piece of shit, decides to be a better person. He grows to be a better person. Benson, Skips, Muscleman, High Five Ghost. All of them are much more deeper characters than how they are. Plus, you can't go wrong as Mark Hamill. You can't go wrong with Mark Hamill. You just fucking can't. Mark Hamill is great as Skips. What holds it back is just... sometimes the animation's off, sometimes the plots can get really fucking out there. Rigby is kind of hard to watch sometimes, with how much of a prick he starts out as. But it's a show that you watch with your friends, and it's really, really good. Also, Pops is best boy, and I will not hear any fucking arguments about it. Owl House. Owl House right now is a show that me and my fiance love dear to our hearts. It is a good fucking show. Its characters are wonderful, its messaging and themes are great, and the one thing that I love about it, the world does not care about Luz. Luz is an outsider to this world. Sure, they treat her like everyone else, but that's the thing. They treat her like everyone else. She's not special. Actually, she stumbles into magic. She can't cast magic normally. She's not a witch. But she learns how to do it. She pays attention. She gets better by paying attention. She's not great with it to start. She can only make a literal light bulb. But she starts learning and making more. She starts combining. She starts doing everything. She starts learning how to be better. And her worldview, her positivity, is put to the test all the time. She's not always right. And the show knocks her down a peg. She goes in thinking, oh, it's a wonderful fantasy land. No, it's a literal hellhole. But instead of being like, oh, the world sucks and everything sucks, she's still positive about it. She knows she's got a lot to learn, and that's great. Ida is fucking fantastic. She's a complicated individual and mentor. Still funny as hell. King, cute little wolf, cute little boy, cute little wolf boy. Hootie. A lot of people fucking hate him. I love that little worm. He's great. I love Hootie. I love that he's played by the same guy who plays Bill Cipher. I love him so much. He's great. Owl House is an S-tier show. Fuck anyone that says otherwise. Can't wait for the next episode in January. Harley Quinn! I'm gonna put it in B. Harley Quinn takes a lot. I'm not a fan of, like, overly violent shows. Oh yeah, that's another thing about Owl House. Blame is put where blame is put. And, like, loses her shit. And, like, worries that, like, she's to blame for everything, but she's not. Everything was out of her control. Okay, back to Harley Quinn here. Harley Quinn is a very interesting take on a very comedic but interesting take on villains in DC. In that Harley Quinn goes from someone who wants to break away from Joker, but after she breaks away from Joker, it's not that she's instantly healed. She still has to figure herself out. She's still figuring herself out. But then she realized that I don't have to beat the shit out of people. I want to help people. And that is a very powerful thing to say. The show is weirdly animated, and, like, there's a few things where I'm just like, okay. It has a very funny way of dealing with incel logic, and that makes it, like, a lot better for me. Yeah. It's not the best show in the world. A lot of hit or miss jokes, but can't go wrong with Batman Brave and the Bold Batman voice. The Ghost...
Sorry, boss.
The Ghost and Molly McGee. Holy fuck, this show is A. This is an A-tier show. This show, from the start, is fucking funny. And that... if you want to know what the show is, it's basically that this girl moves into this town that's haunted. Basically, ghosts are real, but ghosts have to keep up a certain, like, misery threshold in their cities. And that the ghost who's the best at it is also the most hated ghost among his community, because he's just gross. He's just gross. But when Molly McGee shows up, her bubbliness, her, like, hey, my life kind of sucks. I've had to move from, like, here, and here. And I really hope that this can be my forever home now. When she meets the ghost at first is like, oh, I could just scare her out of my house. No, she's in love that there's a fucking ghost in her house. Holy shit, ghost friend? Fuck yes, sign me up. The ghost then tries to pull a curse on her, basically saying, as long as you stay within this house, I will be your fucking worst nightmare. She turns that on its head. Ed. And she annoys the ghost so much. And by the way, it's not like annoying as in like, oh, she's fucking annoying. It's like her happiness is just too much for this ghost to handle. And he tries to leave, but she says, come back, friend, I'm sorry. And he's pulled right back to her because he cursed himself to her. And when you have this line, I didn't curse Molly McGee, I cursed myself. That is fucking funny to me. And by the way, the show goes out of its way that Molly McGee's positivity can be too much. Oh yeah, the ghost is also voiced by Dana Snyder. Yes, oh my god, he's funny as hell. But Molly's positivity is also her worst enemy. She tries to overcorrect in situations where she fucks up in. And one episode where she's like hanging out with her best friend, she's trying to throw the best party in the world for her friend, but her friend doesn't want that. Her friend just wants to hang out with Molly because she's been alone most of her life and she just wants to hang out with Molly. And that's far more poetic. That kids should be like, encourage kids to be like happy and like positive, but there's a limit where they also need to step back and listen. Thoughts on Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy? I like it. It's good. It's pretty good. I grew up to be a Grim. Amphibia. Oh, don't get mad at me. Amphibia is one of my most favorite shows that came out of the late 2010s, early 2020s. Holy fuck, is it funny. From start to finish, I was laughing. And crying. The show made me cry. Amphibia is wonderful. It is great. When you have jokes where it's like characters having existential crises, where it's more realistic with how it deals with stuff. They have a character just carried off by a fucking monster by the first episode, and it's just treated as a regular occurrence. And that, yeah, the main characters get magic powers, but it was literally out of lies and manipulation. And that's another thing. The show has a lot to say about family. Family that you find and family that you're born into. And that it doesn't excuse bad behavior. One of the main character's best friends is manipulative. She's a good person to an extent, but she tends to be far too controlling and manipulative. And their other friend, they say they're her friend, but they don't act like it. Anne has to learn to be a better person. The main character has to learn to be better. And it's really, really good. And it has a lot to say that, like, hey, just because you aren't just welcomed into a community and liked, you have to earn it. You gotta earn those people's trust. But when you have it, you will have the most loyal people backing you up. Amphibia is really great. If you haven't watched it, all the seasons are out. It is fucking fantastic. Give it a watch. You literally can't go wrong with a show that has this joke in it. Don't stare into the abyss, Anne. After all, it stares back. And that's in a comedic episode. That's in a comedic episode. Holy shit. This stuff is great. Anyway. Oh, I don't remember this show's name. This is also a show made by the guys who made Regular Show. Top of B. Close enough. Close enough is what it's called. It's very much like Millennials Being Parents, the show. I tried it. I thought some things were funny. It's just Regular Show, but with humans. It's just a regular show, but the cast is humans and has a kid in it. Bee and Puppy Cat. We'll put it in B. It's very slow, very calm, very charming. Not necessarily for me, but if you want a good show to just relax to, it's a good show. Camp. In spite of Rooster Teeth and the problems with Rooster Teeth, Camp is funny as hell. I love David. I love his fellow counselor. I love the kids. They're great. They're all funny. The fucking groundsmaster, he's even funnier. Just with how random the situations that they can find themselves in the show is great. And how the thing that gets me the most got me the most was the episode where they invite all the parents to camp. One group of parents doesn't show up, and that's the main kid's parents. And you finally understand why that kid lashes out, why he is really sarcastic, why he swears a lot, why he acts like a piece of shit. Because his parents don't care. And there's this really, really good scene where David and the other counselor, they don't force the kid to go on stage, they don't force him to stay. They take him out to a restaurant and just have dinner with him. And they treat him like a kid. And when he cries, they're there for him. They treat him like they're his own. And that's really, really good for kids who are stuck in that situation. Get the fuck over there, you stupid piece of shit. Anyway. Bravest Warriors. Oh, fuck. See. Had a really good start. Piddled out by the end. I'm sorry. Mystery Incorporated. Good fucking show, dude. Good fucking show. Really good adaptation of Scooby-Doo. Really good interpretation of it. Love Mystery Incorporated. This shit is fire. You got a good Shaggy. You got a good Scooby. You got a good Velma. You got a good Daphne. You got a good Fred. Oh my god. Fred is golden retriever energy. And I am fucking for it. I am for Daphne. Like, not being like the kind where she's like, oh, it's subtle flirting, they might be into it. No, she is all the way for Fred. She is all the way into him. All faults and all. Freddy is just a clueless golden retriever. I love it. I love that Shaggy and Scooby are deeper characters, that Scooby's a bit of a fucking, he's a bit of a sass master, but he's still a coward, but he's there for his friends. Fucking dog takes a tank for his buddy. Hell yeah! Did I ever watch Camp Lazlo? I did. That's 2000 show. Love Mystery Incorporated. Love it. Love it. I don't know what you are. Tangled. Tangled. See? I will not explain myself, it is C. Over the Garden Wall. Top of B. Over the Garden Wall was meant to be a short series, sort of exploring someone's interpretation of purgatory. I'm 24. Gonna be 25 in 2 months. Over the Garden Wall, what holds it back for me is the fact that it is very much like that kind of theorist show bait, and that it doesn't give you the answers, it just kind of lets you try to figure it out on your own. Or it's supplementary material, and I fucking hate that. I hate the mystery box animation kind of stuff, that you don't know what's in the box. Nah, that shit doesn't work with me. Good show either way. Good show either way. Like, if you can, try to find it. It's actually pretty good. It just... Speed. Symbiotic Titan. Oh, where do I put you? Oh, where do I put you? Oh, you only got one season, but you were made by Genndy Tartakovsky, and I love that fucker. Ugh. Top of B. Symbiotic Titan had a lot of promise. But it was cut short way too fast. It got capped in the knees really fast. And that's fucking sad. It was a lot more mature for a kid show. It was not afraid to kill people on screen. And what killed it was toy sales. And that sucks. Just like with Young Justice, toy sales are what killed it, and that it was more popular with a different demographic than the demographic they wanted to go to. Exactly, Blue. If you don't advertise the fucking toys, why would we ever buy them? Symbiotic Titan had a lot of promise going into it, and after its first season, it leaves a lot to be desired, because it never got its second season. And that sucks. I wish it did, because I would have liked to see where it went.
This is just my opinion, boss. I will say that I think Symbiotic Titan is still in the B section, but I think it's a little lower on that tier level. But probably because of that shake it, bake it, booty quake it.
Okay, actually, so I'm actually gonna point something out here. The actual full context of that scene, when you watch it, yeah, it's a girl trying to, like, get this guy's attention through sexual means, but when you actually watch the full scene, he actually, like, doesn't give a reaction to her at all. And she's like, do you not find me pretty? Like, what's going on here? Like, hey, and he points out to her that you are much more capable than just getting by on your good looks. You don't need to do that. You are a stronger, capable, more... You are a better person than that. You don't need to do that. And it doesn't interest me. He tells her to her face that those tactics, that she doesn't need to sexualize herself. She doesn't need to do those things. She is much better than she gives herself credit for. And he tells her what she needs to hear, not what she wants to hear. Yes, watching that scene by itself is cringe. But having the full context to that story, to that scene, helps it. Yes, do I like watching a 16-year-old shake her ass on screen? Nope. Nope. I don't like it with Powerpuff Girls. I don't like it here. But having the context to that scene where it's telling teenagers, hey, you don't need to sexualize yourself. You are more than just your looks. That is much more powerful than anything else. Gravity fucking Falls! Ah! A wonderful show, wonderfully done, funny as hell. Alex Hirsch, Oh my god! He just does really good work. Sure, there's like there's 2 or 3 episodes where like it's just get it over with, but how they managed to captivate us for years with this show, and the shit they got away with. Oh my god! Gravity Falls is a great show. It has a wonderful cast. I gotta love myself some Grunkle Stan. Grunkle Stan's the best character in the show, in my opinion. Well, Surf's coming up as a close second, huh? What the H? It's a show that was not afraid to take risks and treat its audience with the respect that it deserved. I love Gravity Falls. It's a great show. It's the best show of all time. No, there are problems with it, but it's good. It's really good. Gumball. Gumball's an A. Gumball's an A. Gumball has a lot of good stuff in it. It's really funny, really memeable. I like a lot of it. Gumball and his family are just really fun. The show really is really good. It also has like a message of don't judge yourself for what you look like, judge yourself for how you act and how you treat others. I like that the dad is very funny and very his relationship with the mom is very, very good. That like, yeah, sure, he's inept and incompetent when it comes to jobs, but he makes his wife happy because he makes her laugh. And yeah, she does get frustrated with him, but he listens to her and he talks with her. And like, you can't get any better than that. We Bare Bears. He's good. He's good. He's a B. Very good. Very good. Very cute. I like We Bare Bears. Very cute show. Okay, KO. Oh, you are A tier, buddy. I love OKKO. It's great. I love it very much. I love all of its references. I love all of its humor. KO is a very good kid. I like that what it had to say about heroes and such. That just because heroes save the day doesn't mean they're good people. I like that the main villain was a hero who basically felt like he was worthless compared to everyone else. That he had to like do so much to keep up. I like that Enid, the ninja girl, when we find out her backstory and that she started out as a witch and she didn't want to do magic, she was not good at it, but she wanted to do ninja stuff. When her family and her friends found out about that, they didn't care. They didn't care that she wanted to stop being a witch. They cared that she wasn't happy. They're just happy that she's happy. That was great. And I love the fact that KO, by the end of this series, because throughout the series, he had to deal with, like, his anger. His anger and everything. You don't deal with your emotions by neglecting them. You don't become a better person by neglecting your emotions. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be jealous. It's okay to be envious. When it becomes a problem is when it starts affecting everyone around you in a negative light. If you lash out in anger against people, that's a negative anger. Explaining these feelings to people is a lot better. Accepting that these feelings are a part of you. It's okay to be an angry person. It's not okay to lash out in anger at people unless they fucking deserve it. It's okay to be envious of what others want, so long as you don't let it consume you. OKKO had a really good message that KO doesn't become a better person by ignoring his anger. He becomes a worse person because of it. Because he ignores it, so it builds up. And then he lashes out at everybody. But by accepting that side of him, by accepting that, yeah, I've got problems, in that my anger will always be a part of me, but instead of neglecting my anger or what made me angry, I need to figure out why. I need to be better. It's good. Also, Boxman and Dr. Venomous, oh my god! The gayest of men! And I love it! I love their relationship! I love that Venomous is a bored supervillain who's just fucking bored that he just points a laser at any congressperson. It's like, millions of dollars, please. Or, oh god, these heroes again. Fine, boom, done, gone, out of my life. When he talks to Boxman, when this guy comes to Boxman, he's like, you are the most pettiest, useless villain I've ever seen, and I love it. I love how petty you are. I love that you focus on the stupidest of shit. I love your petty villainy. I love it so much. I love that Boxman is just such a fucking character, too. He's funny as hell. Oh, OKKO's villains? Mwah! Perfect. Love it, love it, love it. Alright, it's a lot of problems, a lot of meandering around. Some plots just don't go anywhere, but oh my god, OKKO is good. And I'm sad that you have to go watch it illegally now. Oh. Alright. I'm tired. I feel like a lot better now that I got to just talk and shit. This is the list. But yeah. I will talk to you all probably tomorrow, because I'm not doing anything tomorrow, so I might as well do something. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoyed my ranting, my talking, everything else. But yeah. Among Us? Yeah, maybe we can get enough people for Among Us. I wouldn't mind doing that. But yeah. I will talk to you all tomorrow.